Hello, everybody. Welcome to the interview segment, and I'm excited tonight to be talking to not one but two brewery meisters, owners, co-founders of Enlightened Beer. We have James and Tommy. Guys, there they are.
What's
Hi.
happening?
Hi. Okay. I'd like you guys to kind of introduce yourselves to the audience. Tell us a little bit about Enlightened, and it's kind of the quick version of its backstory and how it came to be.
Right on. Well, my name's Tommy, co-founder of Enlightened Brewing Company. We've been around since 2013. So believe it or not, we're the fourth oldest continually operating brewery in the city of Milwaukee. And that goes behind, your Miller, Sprecher. It's not a perfect metric, but we say it.
Yeah, because the big boom in Milwaukee was in 2016, 2017.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, that's right.
Third Space City, Good City, so many. So yeah, you guys were out in front of that.
And we were small. We started out in a 500 square foot closet in the Lincoln warehouse, and basically took a home brewery and got it commercially viable, certified. Got the permits and everything. And
Don't be crazy, Tommy. Viable is a variable term.
Usable,
I'm
passable.
James, I will also point out I'm James of Enlightened Brewing Company, co-owner of the fourth oldest continuing operating production brewery.
Okay, tell me what is the continually operating? Sounds like it's fine print for somebody that I'm not thinking of that stopped for a little bit. Is it?
In fairness, I put that stamp on it because I think through COVID, a lot of people shut down their production facilities, especially the smaller ones. And so I'll always say, well, if you hit the pause button or you moved locations or you did this sort of thing, then it's fine. But realistically, we're not far out of 5 or 6 if we're going just the timestamp of when you started. So, but a lot of those folks that had that timestamp before us are now either on different projects or have moved out of Milwaukee City proper or the county in general. So I think it holds water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fact,
it's worth. I mean,
you want to, but I think it holds water.
Like we don't have a trophy for it, or we're not.
We'll have to
cash or anything.
we'll have to get over to the Milwaukee makerspace and get you guys a trophy for fourth oldest continuously operating.
We do this bike race every year with Gathering Place. Awesome friend Joe Yato in River West there. And just to give you an idea of what our budget is for certain events and things, the trophy we got is a secondhand boxing trophy. So whatever brewery wins the
I'm going to correct you there, Tommy. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Correct you. That's an original print trophy. It cost us $11, and it's a boxing trophy. And when I went to the place on Old World 3rd, the guy said, do you want anything printed on the plaque? And I said, yeah, the Great Milwaukee Brewery Bike Race. And he looked at me like I was an insane human being because it's a boxer on top of the trophy. So, budget was $11. It's been passed back and forth between our good buddy Joe and Gathering Place a handful of times. I think we have it, right, Tommy? We've got it.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Hell yeah.
2-3 years in a row now, champs.
Nice.
So,
well, that's pretty proud. That should go on the Facebook about me page. Yeah. There you go. Oh, cheers.
Yeah, very nice.
All right. Well, Tommy, we talked. I think we met for the first time at Milwaukee Magazine, where my day job is. We had a couple events at Enlightened this spring and summer with related to the Top Chef. We had a couple watch parties there, and it was a lovely time. And we started talking. I can't be around a brewery person without talking shop a little bit. And we talked a little bit about kind of the environment out there. I mean, we mentioned it in the news and in the open with, there's been a lot of hard news this year. Hard meaning like difficult news. That's been pointing to the environment. Just in Milwaukee proper, we've had City Lights and company close. can you kind of talk a little bit about, and James, obviously, asking both of these questions here, a little bit about what it's like out there selling beer in Wisconsin in 2024?
Well, it's not getting easier, that's for sure. I mean, it's been tough out there, and it's our job to try to figure out what's going on in the market, but it's not always easy. Nobody's got a crystal ball about where trends are going or anything like that, and it's sometimes even hard to explain, like, oh, we're down 5%, over last year or something. Like, where did we feel like we've been working just as hard here and things are going well, but where are those numbers coming from? So we're just trying to figure out exactly what's going on and make adjustments as we can. But I think across the industry, nationwide, but certainly in the city of Milwaukee and probably in Wisconsin, morale is low. It's harder to sell beer out there. It's harder to keep people's attention. Shelf space is constantly changing. Chain business isn't what it once was.
Just for a little bit of
trying to dig it out,
just for a little bit of context, what can you talk about your distribution, your kind of your balance between, like, say, tap room, kind of what kind of like type of brewery you are, and how that plays into what's working and what's a little bit more of a challenge right now?
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I mean, it's fun out there to see what models different breweries have. You got your very small tap room only or tap room focused. Maybe they don't even package their beer, type of neighborhood brewery, all the way up to large scale production breweries that do contract brewing, and maybe they don't even have a tap room. They just focus on production and co-packing and that kind of thing. We're in the middle of that. We have a decent sized production brewery and a pretty big tap room. The capacity is 280 people. So we can, as throw some pretty big events in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll just say for everybody listening and watching, if you've been to Milwaukee and haven't gone to Enlightened, you're missing out. It's a really cool space, and there's a lot of you guys have a lot of like programming and stuff. Like Milmeg was kind of a part of that for a couple nights, but there's always interesting stuff, trivia, and like just kind of off, like different types of events than I think you'd often see at a lot of tap rooms.
We're really trying to get trivia off the ground. So for those folks that have nothing to do on Thursday, please come on down and play. Our friend Robbie is one of the most hilarious trivia masters there is, and you're going to have a good time no matter what.
Nice.
But I just want to jump in on the production side real quick, because I know this might be more of a sales and market conversation, and my insight is more on the nuts and bolts of the stainless steel. But it's been really fun to see us take our brand from a very core thing that was never hot, as they say, the kids say, hot, and still find some success. And I think there's still some wiggle room within the market. I think there's some breweries that do a lot of flash in the pan, chasing some trend stuff, and that's a model that works. That's something that people intend to do and do well. For us, it's always been, what can we do to the best of our ability, and what can we continue to do to the best of our ability? And I think that's going to see certain breweries through. I'm not saying that we're going to be the one that sees it through. The writing's on the wall for a lot of breweries, and we might not be the one that makes it through. But does Cream City Bricks make it? Maybe not.
Right.
Does Fantasy Factory make it? Maybe not. Who knows? That's in the eye of the consumer at the end of the day. So
yeah, and I will say something like I don't know, a bit of a testimonial to how much more difficult things are than they were maybe in, like, we didn't start at this point, but like 2010 or before that, and then going into 2016, there was a time where if you were a brewery and your liquid was good, you were going to be successful. And there were a lot fewer pieces that you had to think about and program and plug in. And these days, to keep the tap room humming along And to keep sales going in the market, everything takes a bit more extra effort, and you got to like try to keep people's attention, find reasons for them to come to the tap room and stay, because they're not just going to come because you make beer. There's a lot more breweries. That's part of it. The trends, what people are drinking. I mean, maybe that's a factor. But it takes time to make beer. You know, you can take a look at what's selling in the market, and by the time you get around to developing a recipe, getting the packaging done, design, marketing, all that stuff, you might have missed that wave. You know?
Right. Well, and I get the sense that Enlightened is not exactly a chasing trends kind of brewery. I mean, James, you kind of alluded to this, like get in your wheelhouse. And
Chris, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. I've been preaching that good word for a long time to my boy Tommy.
Ever since I met him.
Well, I mean, is this a discussion internally about what we, okay. Well, can you kind of talk through the different, because I was not expecting this, to be honest. I mean, because just from the outside, you know, Enlightened's beer tends to be, to me, simpler, more traditional, simpler, not in but you know, like you're not going to win a silver for a milkshake at pineapple IPA, right? I mean,
it's beer flavored beer we make. Yeah.
Yes, beer flavored beer. And but what are the tensions within that? Hopefully, I'm glad you guys are not in the same building, it looks like, so there won't be any jumping into the other screen.
Yeah, no fist fights or anything, but you know, I've had a couple beers now. Let's air it out.
Yeah.
You know?
I watched CNN. They had, conservatives and liberals on the panel after Joe Biden talked, going back to your RNC thing that you did earlier. So Tommy, let's do it. Let's what role should I play?
So, I mean, just like we can cover the broad strokes, it's yin and yang. There was a time when I first met James and I was making beer, I was home brewing, trying to get it going as Enlightened Brewing Company. I mean, most professional brewers would laugh out loud at the recipes that I had and I don't know, just the wacky ideas and thinking about then scaling that up.
Come on, Tommy, I didn't laugh out loud. I just told you let's do it differently.
I had like 6 to 8 different malts in there for no good reason at all. And hop schedules that were just like, throwing darts. I mean, it was crazy. So I recognize that. Now being in the position that we're in, it's more, I don't know. I look at it from less of a beer enthusiast angle and more of a business angle. And obviously, like any business, they have a lot of goals, but primary goal is to make money. If you don't, you're not going to be in business. So obviously, like I want to try to capitalize on what's popular and what people are buying out there. And I'll give James, credit, whatever. I recognize that, I've learned that it's not possible always to just quick turn something. It can be really expensive to make beers that are on trend. And like I said, you might miss the opportunity. So, I mean, we do talk about it all the time. How can we make this happen? How can we play in that sandbox while staying true to what we do, what we want to do, and still making a business out of it?
Is my characterization of Enlightened's kind of brewing philosophy or approach pretty, is that
remind
close?
Me what you said. I'll need to remind you. What did you say?
Beers that tend to be simpler and traditional.
Yes, absolutely. I think that the main approach that I take as the production arm of Enlightened Brewing Company is let's make it clean, let's make it easy, let's make it repeatable. The main thing is the repeatability. We've grown up a little bit larger than maybe we should have, arguably, to Tommy's point of, maybe we're a little bit bigger of a ship than can pivot, and hopefully the iceberg isn't dead ahead of us. But our whole goal is to be able to make a beer that lands or make a beer that sells even mildly successfully, and then we can make it the same exact way every single time. And to touch back on, to give Tommy some credit, his whole ethos when we first started has now entered back into our brewery with our pilot program called the Rough Draft Series. And now what we're doing is, money is no object. Anything is on the table. Let's just see what we can do. And so there is that level of kind of tapper release only, or kind of limited release draft only type model that is working, that is successful, and that every brewery needs to have, whether they're, Third Space, Three Sheeps, Hacienda, whatever those folks might be. But they also probably should have the reliance on their core brand that can keep the lights on. I mean, we're looking at the New Glarises of the world. Spotted Cow lets New Glarus do whatever they want. And we all wish we could be Spotted Cow. We all wish we could be New Glarus, but the reality is that doesn't exist, but in a vacuum that is New Glarus. So, we're kind of dealing with that as part of the market. And we're hoping that we can all strike lightning at some point, get some extra dollars, and keep moving the needle forward. But
yeah, I mean, mad respect for New Glarus, but unrepeatable. It's amazing what they've done.
Yeah.
And
that is not the roadmap to success for all the smaller breweries, right? I mean, they exist now. You can't.
Well, it's
me. That. I mean, you got to try to carve out a little space, and right.
I thought my analogy was great. It's me with a Michael Jordan poster in my room. I'm never going to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean,
when you have to say it twice, it's not as funny. All right,
it's good.
I'll take another. Yeah, man, let's take another sip.
I'll have another. I mean, it's nice that we've found space in our brewery for something like that, where we can get creative, worry less about money, smaller batch sizes, because that's the fun of it. When we started home brewing, that was the draw. It was so cool.
What do you hear from your customers in the tap room about that? Like when they come, are they like, well, are they asking what's new, or are they like, yeah, give me the Moral Luck, give me the bricks, give me the porter,
prototypical.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew it was pro something.
Her answer, but I'm going to jump in right away and say I think it's about 50-50. I think half of our customer base in the tap room are always looking for the rough draft. They're always looking for something new. They're ready to try it. Then the other half are dead set on, I'm going to drink Kettle Logic. I'm going to drink Bread Idea. I'm here for Imperative. I'm here for Cream City Bricks. And then, we've got those tourists that just try everything. So
I think that is the case in our tap room. It's a pretty nice split between like loyal fans of a certain beer like Cream City Bricks or Moral Luck, and people that are coming back because they want to see what's new. And with the Rough Draft Series, we do have new things. And I don't know, they've all done really well, I think, no matter what the style is. It's not like people come and they see that we've made hazy IPAs, so they want to drink those. I mean, right now we have a Hefeweiss, a Belgian Blonde, and a Saison as part of the same Rough Draft Series. And those are consistently doing well in the tap room. So that's really fun to see. I think in the market, my impression is that it's like if I have to hear what's new from you guys one more time, I'm just going to pull my hair out, because we're so focused on core brands and like good drinkable beer that has a lot of legs out in the market. But some people, they just, bars and restaurants, or even
when you say the people pulling their hair out are the buyers for decision makers for bars, restaurants, and
I want to pull my hair out because I'm like,
I see. Okay.
You know how
what's new?
Yeah. It's like, well, we don't have anything that's new. The new stuff is in our tap room. How about another look at Cream City Bricks, and that doesn't always land. With certain bodies, you know, there's some, it's just mixed out there. But I think that the I don't know, people wanting new things all the time has slowed down a little bit from just before COVID.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
who knows?
Yeah. Well, we talked about a lot about the challenges here. What is working, and what are the things that you guys are going toward right now, and you know, kind of on a, I guess, on a bigger picture.
Go ahead, Tommy.
I mean, I guess you mentioned the pilot system and the rough draft series. So I mean, I'm assuming that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
rough draft.
is there what is the size of that system compared to your main system?
So it's interesting. This is a terrible thing to say on a podcast because it's recorded, but it was a shower thought of mine when we were shutting down our old facility. It was kind of a light bulb moment, and it said, well, what can we do? And so we took 4 3.5 barrel fermenters from our old facility, which is now New Barons, which is great. And the idea was that we would use our main production facility, which is a 10 barrel brew house, and we would split that mother wort into 3 different tanks, and we would try to create 3 unique beers out of one mother wort. And then that 4th tank would be the finishing tank that we would move everything around in. And we've been pretty successful with it. I'm actually blown away with how well it worked out for just a harebrained scheme. But we do about 15 to 18 6 barrels. So 3 barrels of each beer. So it's a very, very small amount for our typical brewery, which, you know, we've got 20 barrel fermenters and a 10 barrel brew house.
Okay.
Our major core brands or our bigger things are all done in 20 barrel batches. They're all canned. They're all can and draft. And the rest is, and the pilot program is just kind of small draft runs.
Interesting. So did that Saison, the Belgian blonde, what was the third one that you mentioned? The
Hefeweiss.
The Hef, that's got to be its own thing, right? I mean,
you'd think.
So all of it is made out of the same wort.
They were okay.
The yeast is the driver in that rough draft. So the yeast was a French.
So yeah, I guess I mean, yeah, you can have wheat in a Saison. You could have wheat in a Belgian blonde. Okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
It's good head retention on that Belgian blonde. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, is 10 barrels just like too big of a swing, or 10 barrels, like, you know, a full brew on the system? Is that just too big of a swing to take for a tap room only? I mean, that's 20 kegs. That's,
I mean, it ties up a lot of draft. It ties up a lot of our cooperage, but also it ties up a full 20 barrel tank. So we don't have any 10 barrel tanks. We don't have any bright tanks. All uni tanks. So every single fermenter is a primary fermentation vessel and a finishing tank.
Okay.
So if we tie up 10 barrels, we're going to tie up a lot of our cooperage in just one beer, and we're going to just tie up that 20 barrel tank for a long period of time, maybe longer than we need to. So the smaller tanks, the pilot tanks, are pretty successful. If something goes particularly well, like if we have a hazy IPA that sells through the roof more than the other ones in that series, then there's no reason why we wouldn't throw a 10 barrel batch of it together. But we probably want to couple that with packaging, and then we have to make the decision on, you know, what does the packaging look like? How long does that take? You know, there's a lot of variables that go into play with our kind of more factory-based style of production brewing than just our rough draft series pilot brewing. So
yeah, that's, I mean, without having a dedicated like pilots, like a small brew house, like a mini brew house or something, that makes it really tough to kind of But
that being said, since we do it on the 10 barrel brew house that we normally operate with, it's extremely easy to scale up any of the beers that we do to a 20 barrel batch or a 10 barrel batch.
Just do a double. You're just basically doing a double batch on a full.
Yeah, There's no different calculations for a different brew house to a larger brew house. So
Okay.
that makes it a lot easier.
Right.
So that is working in the tap room, and that's been really fun to see. And it's allowed us to keep doing it, which is awesome. Some of the programming we've been doing in the tap room is fun, and it also has been working. Our cribbage nights are great. Even just birthday parties, weddings, the big space that we have, watch parties, that's been really fun and like a dream come true for the tap room. It's just really cool to see. Out in the market, that's the question I'm always asking when I'm out. I'm like, what are people buying? What's working for you guys? What's selling right now? And part of the reason I think beer is down, everybody's like struggling a little bit more than they have been, is because people seem to be drinking a little bit less. And when they are drinking, they're drinking less beer. I hear a lot about high noon being super popular, your hard iced teas, your ready to drink cocktails. That stuff seems to be having a moment. And then also the macroeconomic forces are affecting all of us. So it seems like economy brands, if you want to call them that, the cheap stuff is doing okay or better than a lot of us. Like Modelo is just going gangbusters right now. Like, in fact, I saw a statistic that
really good.
Yeah, I mean, right. I drink it. Import beer right now as a category is way up, and it's pretty much all because of Modelo.
Yeah.
So that's a factor.
I saw I think it was just today or yesterday, I saw that, was it Mick Ultra passed Bud Light into number 2 behind Modelo as the number, as far as like the best selling beer. I think it's in the United States. Usually I check my sources a little bit more before I say stuff like this on the air, but yeah, I mean, it's the top of the beer world is just a totally different thing than what we talk about on the show, and I'm sure what you guys are dealing with. But I mean, of course, it's affecting you in a much more direct way. So, all right, well, what's coming up for Enlightened? What do you guys? Is something exciting in the tanks that's coming out soon that you're excited to have put in front of people? What big events? What's going on?
Couple things. I think broadly, we've developed this lager program over the last year or two that has been awesome, really fun. That's what I'm drinking right now, is a Moral Luck German Pilsner.
Really nice beer, yeah.
We kind of roll that into our Märzen style, the Vienna Circle for Oktoberfest. So that's actually coming out pretty soon, like it or not. They're released earlier and earlier every year.
I don't like.
At least you waited till July or August instead of June. So
yeah, so that's coming out, Vienna Circle. It's really awesome. We tweaked it a little bit this year, the recipe, and it's just better and better. It's tasting really good. And then the lager that we do at the end of the year is called Cosmic Nihilism, which is a Czech dark lager. Super fun to have that. And then once a month, we're releasing Rough Draft Series beers. So it's always like a hazy here and there, and then some Belgian stuff, maybe some strong stuff. We're doing Milwaukee Brew Fest this year for the first time in like 7 years. I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, we fell off the fest list and we're back on it a little bit.
That's the one on the lakefront, right?
Yeah.
I just want to give a quick shout out to the lager program, to our brewer Tyler. He was the one that really developed that for us, and he's been crushing it on the recipes. I want to say that I could take credit for all those, but I have nothing to do with them. I just help him make them. So Tyler Killips is doing a very good job in the lager side of our world. So
nice.
Yeah, and then just more. Thanks. But it's really good. The effects are just
you never know when that stuff's going to come in.
Production
the booing was really off-putting. I was not ready for that. Yeah, sure.
This is some high ABV production.
Yeah.
So lots of events in the tap room always. If you guys want to book any private events, semi-private, birthday parties, whatever, check out our tap room. It's a really good option.
Can confirm. All right, James, Tommy, thanks so much for coming by on Badger Beer Hour, and best of luck. And I'll see you down at the tap room pretty soon.
Pleasure speaking with you.
All right.